I found my husband's secret baby registry. Then I realized none of it was for me. For 2 years, my husband Adrian told me he was not ready for children. Every time I brought it up, he said the same thing. We need more savings. We need less stress. We need to enjoy being married first. So I waited. I watched my friends announce pregnancies. I bought tiny clothes for other people's babies. I smiled at showers until my cheeks hurt. Then I came home and told myself Adrian was right. Maybe timing mattered. Then his sister Lila asked me why I had picked a jungle theme. We were standing in the grocery store by the strawberries. I thought she meant for a party. I said, "What jungle theme?" Her face changed. She said, "For the baby registry." I laughed because it sounded impossible. Adrian did not want a baby yet. Adrian got quiet whenever I mentioned names. Adrian said a crib in our apartment would make him feel trapped. Lila turned pale and said, maybe I misunderstood. But she had already said enough. That night, while Adrian was in the shower, I opened his laptop to print a return label. His browser was still open. The tab said, Baby Registry, Shared List. I clicked it. The registry had his last name on it. Adrian and Marissa's little miracle. Marissa was his coworker. The woman he said was like a younger sister. The woman whose car he fixed. The woman who suddenly needed him on weekends because her apartment had bad locks. The woman who once touched my stomach at a barbecue and said, some women just have that mother energy. The due date was 4 months away. 4 months! My husband had been telling me he was not ready for kids while preparing for one with someone else. I scrolled through the registry with my hand over my mouth. Crib, stroller, bottle warmer, rocking chair, matching pajamas that said, Daddy's little shadow. Daddy? Then I saw the shipping address. It was not Marissa's apartment. It was a townhouse Adrian told me belonged to a client. I clicked the notes section. That was where the world tilted. Please do not ship anything to the house. Wife still does not know. Shower is Sunday. Adrian will tell her after. Wife still does not know. I was the wife. I did not scream. I did not wake him up. I took pictures of every page. I forwarded the registry to myself. Then I opened our bank account. There were charges I had ignored because marriage teaches you to trust the person sleeping beside you. Furniture store, baby boutique, townhouse deposit, prenatal spa package, all paid from the account where I had been putting money aside for the future he kept postponing. The next morning, Adrian kissed my forehead and told me he loved our quiet life. Our quiet life. I asked what he was doing Sunday. He said he had inventory at work. He looked me straight in the face and lied, with toothpaste still on his lip. So I told him I might visit my mother. Then I called Lila. At first, she cried and said she thought I knew. She said Adrian told the family we were separated, but keeping it private. He told them I did not want children and had given him permission to move on emotionally. He said Marissa was healing him. Healing him. Lila sent me the baby shower invitation. It said, celebrating Adrian and Marissa's miracle boy. Hosted by Adrian's mother. That part hurt in a different place.
His mother, Denise, had sat across from me at Thanksgiving and told me not to pressure her son. She had said, children happen when men feel safe. Meanwhile, she was buying balloons for the baby he was having behind my back. I almost canceled everything and disappeared. But then Leela sent one more screenshot. It was a message from Denise in the family chat. Do not tag Adrian until he handles the wife situation. She is sensitive and might make herself the victim. The wife situation. I became very calm. On Sunday, I put on a yellow dress, curled my hair, and drove to the townhouse. I parked 2 blocks away so nobody would see my car. Through the front window, I could see blue balloons, a dessert table, and a giant sign that said, Baby Kingston. Kingston was the name I had mentioned once, years ago, when Adrian asked what names I liked. He had taken that too. I waited until everyone was holding drinks. Then I walked in with a gift bag. The room went silent so fast the music felt embarrassed. Adrian stood by the cake with Marissa's hand on his arm. His face went gray. Denise said my name like I had broken into a bank. I smiled and said, I brought something for the baby. Marissa looked confused. That was when I realized she did not know the whole truth either. She said, "Adrian told me you two were divorced." Divorced? I held up my left hand with the ring still on it. Then I placed the gift bag on the table. Inside was not a onesie, it was a folder. On top was our marriage certificate. Under that were bank statements, registry screenshots, the townhouse deposit, and the family chat where Denise called me the wife situation. Adrian tried to grab it. Leela stepped in front of him. Marissa opened the folder first. She read the note that said, "Wife still does not know." Then she looked at Adrian and asked, "You said she left you." He said, "It is complicated." I said, "No, it is organized." I made copies. Then I connected my phone to the Bluetooth speaker. Everyone thought I was about to play music. Instead, I played the voice memo Adrian had accidentally sent me 2 months earlier, the one I saved because something in his tone sounded wrong. In it, he said, "Once the baby comes, my wife will look insane if she complains. People forgive fathers." Nobody breathed. Marissa stepped away from him like he was something hot. Then Denise said, "This is not the time." I turned to her and said, "You hosted the time." That was the peak. Marissa's father, who had been standing by the punch bowl, asked Adrian if the townhouse was in his name. Adrian said yes. Marissa's father said, "Good, then she can keep the baby and you can keep the mortgage." The room cracked open. Marissa started crying, but not the dramatic kind, the shocked kind. She said Adrian told her I was cold, that I refused to have children, that I knew about her and accepted it. I told her he told me he was not ready for children because babies made him feel trapped. She looked down at her stomach and whispered, "So he lied to both of us." I said, "Yes, but only one of us is married to the evidence." Then I pulled out the final paper. It was a notice from my attorney. I had filed for divorce that morning. I also froze our joint account and reported the charges that used my deposits for the townhouse and baby items.
Adrian finally panicked. He followed me to the porch and said, "You cannot do this to my son." I said, "I am not doing anything to your son. I am protecting myself from his father." He said I was destroying a family. I looked back through the window at Marissa, holding the folder while his mother cried beside the balloon arch. I said, "No, I just introduced everyone in it." 3 weeks later, Marissa sent me a message. She apologized. She said she had ended things with Adrian and moved in with her parents. She also sent me screenshots of Adrian asking her to say the registry was fake so I would drop the financial claim. I forwarded them to my attorney. The best part came during mediation. Adrian tried to argue that the baby purchases were gifts and therefore not marital misuse. My attorney placed the registry note on the table. "Please do not ship anything to the house. Wife still does not know." The mediator read it twice. Then she asked Adrian if he needed a moment. I did not look at him. I looked at the folder, the same folder I had carried into that shower. He said he never meant to hurt me. I said, "You planned a whole nursery around hurting me quietly." I got my money back. I kept the apartment. His family stopped speaking to Denise for months because the screenshots made it clear she knew. And Adrian? He posts online about parental alienation now, even though the baby is not born yet, and Marissa blocked him after he asked her to name the child after him. People ask me if I regret walking into that shower. No. He said he was not ready for a baby with me. Then he built a registry with another woman using my money, my name idea, and my silence. So I gave him one final gift. I made sure everyone opened the truth at the same time.